performance conversations ask and promise. They generate agreements.
This is about the only one where the boss is right. The boss is
Yeah, right.
smart, you know?
How many of you have found yourself in a similar circumstance? You had all that long understanding conversation, everybody was in agreement, they knew exactly what was supposed to be done, and then nothing happened, or very little happened. So as we pointed out with understanding conversations are not the source of action. They may be necessary for people to be able to take action, but they're not the source of action. Performance conversations, what they do is they generate the opportunity for action and for performance. So what do we mean by performance? So one form of performance is actually taking an action. You know, run down to the corner and run back. Producing a result. Cutting costs by a certain percentage, increasing efficiency by a certain amount, getting a project completed in a particular period of time, delivering a product, service, or communication. Any of these constitutes forms of performance. Performance conversations are the intent of them, and what they actually produce is this. People being in action, people producing results, people delivering products, services, and communication, which is, if you really get into looking at what goes on in an organization, this constitutes what needs to happen in order for performance to occur. So this is a study done by the American Society of Training and Development, on the likelihood of someone taking action. So if you hear an idea, you know, hey, I like that idea, that's a really cool idea. So if you hear an idea, the likelihood of you taking action based on that idea is 10%. So the odds are 9 to 1 against you doing anything. If you consciously decide to adopt it, I like that new exercise idea, I'm going to do that, that's really a good idea. The likelihood of you following through is 25%. So we're getting much better. The odds are only 3 to 1 against you doing what you thought of. If you decide when you will do it, so I like the idea, I'm going to actually adopt, I'm going to start it on Monday. This is like New Year's resolutions we're going through right here. If you decide when you'll do it, 40% chance that you'll actually take the action. So the odds are not quite 2 to 1, a little over 2 to 1 against you. If you plan how you will actually carry it out, now we start getting up, odds are even. But that's a lot of work. Now if you relate this part to conversations, this is all initiative and understanding conversations. So at best, if you have just initiative and understanding conversations, where you've gotten all the way down to if you plan how you will do it, even odds that something will happen. General Electric, when they first did their workout program, when they designed that, they did all this stuff. Extraordinary amount of work. And when they first started with it, nothing happened. And when they did sort of a post-mortem to figure out what happened, they realized there had been no, what we're calling performance conversations. So they brought everybody back and made all the agreements that needed to be made, and it took off. So if you commit to someone else, you will do it. If you promise to someone else that you will do it. Notice that the odds are now better, and it's a 65% chance that you'll do it. Now, of course, that assumes you make the promise to someone who actually cares. If you just make the promise to anyone, this isn't going to hold up. So, up through understanding conversations, at best gives you even odds that someone will take action, which is not very reliable in the world that we work in today. So performance conversations create the foundation for performance. And the foundation is this: a request plus a promise equals an agreement. That's the foundation for performance. It's also the foundation for accountability, is that there's an agreement. And it doesn't have to be an elaborate agreement. It just has to be, I gave you my word. I said I would, and that constitutes an agreement. So one of the assumptions in this foundation is that there's a certain level of integrity in the word giving that exists between people, and that there'll be some level of accountability for giving your word. In the absence of that, this won't work. But in the absence of that, organizations don't work, so it probably doesn't matter. So the request, what action or result do you want? You'll notice that the structure for this is similar to the structure for an initiative conversation, except here we're out to produce very specific results, actions, or deliverables in a very specific period of time. Short period, generally a relatively short period of time. By when do you want it? And why do you want it? So again, a request has all three of, a good request has all three of the accomplishment ingredients. And it has the following basic canonical form. I request that you X buy Y so that Z. So these are different, so I'm going to give you different levels of requests, and you'll see the mischief that gets created by them. So this is a request. Please pick up a pizza on the way home from work today for Patty's slumber party. So it says what I want, which is a pizza. I want you to pick it up. When do I want it? Work today. And what for? For Patty's slumber party. Now, what kind of mischief could you see happening with this one? Exactly. What time? How many? What do you want on the pizza? You know, the assumption in this request is that when you come home from work today, that's at an established time, and that I know what the time is and that you know that time. So if I say when you come home from work today, I assume that. And there's also an assumption in there about you know something about what pizza should have on it and how many. All that's in there. Can you approve my proposal before Friday so that I can submit it for developmental funding? Now, this is also a request, and you'll notice it's a little bit more specific. It says what I want, which is approval of my proposal, when I want it, which is before Friday, and why I want it is so that I can submit it for developmental funding. Now, what mischief can you see happening with this one?
Well, the proposal could be this thick. I mean, you know, who knows?
Yeah, it doesn't say anything about the size of the proposal. It could be multiple parts of the proposal. Well, it's asking for can you approve it, but what kind of mischief can you get in? It could be characteristic of what, but it's my proposal, and which Friday? And furthermore, even if we agree before this Friday,
Beginning of workday Friday or end of the workday Thursday?
when does before Friday begin or end, shall we say? It says before Friday, so you have up until midnight on Thursday in which to do it. But if you were at work and you were leaving work at 5 o'clock and you were to tell, if I was to tell Todd, can you have this for me before Friday? And he says, sure. I know I'm leaving at 5 o'clock. I assume he's going to have it to me by 5 o'clock. I leave and it's not there at 5 o'clock. I'm going to be upset with Todd. I'll go to Todd and I'll say, hey, Todd, where's the proposal? He said you needed it before Friday. Yeah, well, I'm leaving for work. Yeah, but I'm not. I'm here for another 3 hours. Oh, no, Todd, I needed it before I left today. Too bad. So there would be a breakdown in he did exactly what he agreed to do, and I didn't get what I thought I was going to get. And that will become a source of a breakdown in our working relationship, and it will impact on both of us as we go forward. This is a much more explicit request. Will you update me on the status of the computer conversion project in today's 3 p.m. staff meeting so that I am prepared to answer the CIO's questions? So what I want is an update on the status of the computer conversion project. I want it in today's 3 o'clock meeting, and I want it so I'm prepared to answer the CIO's questions. So now that's what I'm expecting to get delivered when I'm expecting it to get delivered. These are all different levels of request. You'll notice that the more ambiguous the request, the more likely for mischief to occur. The more explicit the request, the less likely for mischief to occur.